Hello, my name is Abigail and welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing something fun and I am redrawing a drawing that I have drawn multiple times. And here is the first time I drew it. This was back in 2017 and this is a pair of bookmarks based on the sun and moon that I made for me and my now fiance. I drew them again in early 2020 in April, and I was very proud of them. I loved their updated designs, and it was fun to put in little backgrounds and stuff. They're not bookmarks, but you know. And then I thought I got better in 2020, so I drew them again at the end of 2020. Now, I loved the sun's colors. I liked their outfits a lot better, but it is now 2022. I do a lot more digital art, and I think I can do better. So, let's get into it. I start with the sun. Now, one of the things I noticed about my 2020 artwork was that the poses were actually worse. Or the late 2020 artwork, I guess, which is the one that is showed there on the screen. I kept it there for a bit of a reference point. Yeah, I just felt that the late 2021, while it showed kind of the style I was leaning into at the time, which was a bit more messy, kind of, like, I was kind of embracing the idea that I'm not perfect and my art doesn't have to be. Well, maybe I should have thought about some of it a little harder because the poses just weren't it. So I wanted to focus on that. And I'm not very good at drawing the male body yet. So what you can't see is that on Procreate, you can pull up like a little window and it's a reference image, and I had a reference image for this pose, and then I got into what I wanted. So I knew I wanted flowier, I wanted more dramatic, I wanted layers, and so that's where I got this big flowing robe, and that chest piece there is actually open, and that's tattooed on there. There's draping jewelry everywhere, and I loved the updated crown. Less pointy, which is something I've rolled with quite a bit in the past, and more like round, but I loved it. I loved it a lot. I spent a lot of time trying to make him look the way I wanted him to. It took a long time. Now I have to tell you a little bit. The iPad can track, like Procreate tracks how much time you spend on a piece. This tracked 12 hours and 15 minutes for both of these characters. That is a long ass time for me. I normally don't spend longer than like a couple hours maybe on like one character. That averages over 6 hours per character. Ridiculous amount of time. But I go in inking. I always ink in the dry brush. It's my favorite. And as you can see in the top there, I have a little, it says 4%, and that's just so that every time I came back to the piece, I knew exactly how thick I had the inking, the line art. And there I am. I put a base in there so I can clipping mask all the other layers to it. So I only have to color him once. Now here is where I struggled. I couldn't pick what colors I wanted for him. And though I landed on, my husband helped me actually pick it, and he was referencing the other piece and I wasn't, where the other piece has the red to yellow but just bright. He suggested I put this muted red to yellow on the pants, and I'm like, oh, it looks great. And he's like, yeah, I just pulled it from the other one. I'm like, oh, you did. So this was just kind of funny that even though this is so much better than the other one, it's funny how similar it ended up being. But he is all golds. I had that fun little sun pattern that I put all along the edging of this robe, and he's draped in jewelry, and the stone of choice I picked was a bright ruby. And I'm kind of partial to a ruby because it's my birthstone. I like it. And here I was teaching myself how to paint gold. So I was using this like tutorial, and they had this like kind of muted gold. So I used those colors to paint in the gold. And then I used an overlay of a really warm golden color and just turned the opacity down. And that allowed the blending of the golds before show through, as well as then warmed it up like in the way that I wanted it to. And his tattoo is a sun and a sword. I just thought that was really fun, and like right there in the center of his chest and abdomen and stuff. And then I went and I colored the line art of it white, so that way it's like kind of those like fun white tattoos. And I used this other sun print then to put all over his robe, so that way you could, I don't know, it's so fun. I've been having so much fun when I'm using the iPad adding textures to clothes and stuff. And I go in now, that's just my favorite part. I go in and I added some like painting things, and then I do a overlay of, what's overlay? It is a multiply layer of purple for some shadows and stuff, because I kind of am lazy and I don't like to paint every individual thing. I like to kind of do it all at once. And I add my white highlights, which are a fun time. I also go and I color some line art kind of along the way. I wasn't intending originally to color the line art. I was thinking about leaving it black, otherwise I would have put them on multiple layers, but I didn't, so it took way longer. And now onto the moon. I had a tricky time coming up with her stance, and then I couldn't get her eyes right. I redrew her eyes like 8 times. Swear to God, it sucked. I was feeling just very sad. I was like, no, I usually, like, I love her. I don't want to have fallen in love with him and then not make her just as good. And finally, though, when I settled on this dress, I loved it. I don't know, something about it. So definitely something that is a more modern thing for me is, well, I mean, not to be crass, but slutty outfits. I love a lot of skin. It's so much fun. And so her outfit, actually, all those little things coming out from like that like belt centerpieces, they're like cutouts, and it's just so much fun. And she ended up being so beautiful. And there's me drawing her pattern that I put all over her dress, and that ends up being silver. I debated doing her gold as well, because I knew in the late 2020 piece, she was very much purple. Like, it was very purple. And I didn't quite like that. I kind of wanted to bring it into the blues a bit more. And I love a navy blue with gold. But I did end up sticking it with the silver just because it felt more, I don't know. It just drew a nice separation between the two, and it was fun. Because some of the blues ended up looking a bit purple too, so the gold didn't look as nice with the purple. But there I am drawing each of those individual beads. That takes so long. And that front overlay, I also love doing sheer fabrics. And I originally, the sun's coat thing was also going to be sheer, but I ended up not liking that. So I kept it solid. And here I am now adding in her skin. So I pulled up this little like skin chart, and I was like painting her skin. I'm like, gosh, this just looks so purple. Like, it's so purple. It doesn't look very skin tony. And so I just kept changing it and changing it and changing it. Well, yeah, sure, it looked very purple until I started painting the rest of her. And once I had the hair color and the other parts of her outfit, I just was like, oh no, it does look very natural. Like, I really like it. And I gave her, I don't know how to say that, vitiligo. Because on the late 2021, I had done the moon patterning kind of on that striping scarf, and I kind of wanted to put that somewhere here as well, so I decided to put it on her skin. And not gonna lie, like I said, I was really afraid that I wasn't going to like her, but she's so gorgeous. I love her so much. And I did put some white streaking in her hair just to bring in some lighter colors, because she was just very dark, and I'm like, okay, well, when you look at the moon in the sky, it's very bright. So I was like, I can't have her so dark, but yeah. And then I go and I color her, so she's mostly that dark, rich, bluish purple color, and I color some line art here, and the draping fabric in the front helps her modesty a little bit. She's got a couple armband tattoos, and then the crown is similar to, I used to do very spiky crowns, and this one though is topped with the moons, and I wanted to pay homage to her original crowns and stuff with the dangling stars, and I loved it. So there's my multiply layer for her to add in some shadows, and I add some final sparkling touches, and then some stars and like glittery patterning on that front piece, and then her own little background. And now you'll see I was filming TikToks and stuff, so you can kind of see me flash there and write the dates. But there they are, finished, and I hope you enjoyed watching this, and let me know what you think in the comments. Have a great day. Bye!